Good, mate. How are you, mate? Hello, mate. How are you? Good.
Afternoon, guys. Thanks for your patience. We will start with the broadcast section that's got no embargo, followed by two embargoed sections, one for 10:30 p.m. tonight and one for 10:30 on Saturday. No live tweeting during the broadcast section, please, and phones on silent. Please indicate to me if you'd like to ask a question. We will try to get through as many people as possible. Apologies in advance if we don't get to you. Gary.
Hello, Gary from Sky.
Hello, mate.
Any guesses as to what the first question's going to be about?
No idea, mate. Good turnout, though. We had to cancel it last week. No one was interested in what I had to say, so it's obviously not about me. So go for it, bud.
What's the latest with Harry Kane? He's sitting at the airport currently waiting to fly to Munich.
Yeah, look, fair to say I don't have a blow-by-blow account of the whole thing, but my understanding is that it's progressed to the point where it looks like it's going to happen, and that's kind of that's all the information I kind of have at the moment, and from that perspective, it at least gives us sort of some clarity. Unless something unforeseen happens, that we move forward without Harry.
You need it to happen, don't you? You're right. The courage is important, so you can move forward. Better it's done sooner rather than later. Now we've reached that stage, I guess.
No, I don't have feelings either way in terms of needing anything. It's just, like I said, from my perspective, it's just about understanding where we're at and where the sort of status of it is. And the information I have at the moment is that the deal is imminent. And like with all these things, obviously, until it happens, you kind of leave a little bit of leeway for yourself. But for the most part, moving forward and certainly with training today and preparing for Brentford, we're doing it without Harry.
Tough decision for him in the end, it seems. How do you think he should be remembered by Tottenham fans? I guess it's best Harry speaks for himself in terms of the decision. But look, there's no doubt he's one of the greats of this football club, and that doesn't change. His record speaks for itself. His standing amongst our supporters stands for itself. I'm only new in the building, mate, but I'm certainly not a spokesman for this football club in the sense of proclaiming people's status. But I think it's fairly evident that Harry Kane will always be one of the greats of this football club. £85 million up to maybe even a bit more than £100 million coming to the club. You've got quality strikers, quality forward players in the building already, but will you be looking for a like-for-like replacement for Harry?
I don't think there's a like-for-like replacement for Harry, mate.
Position-wise, sorry.
Oh, in terms of a striker, yeah. No, look, again, we've been planning for this, fair to say, for a while. I think it doesn't take too much investigative work to realise that this was going to happen. So we've been sort of planning for it to happen anyway. So a lot of our business up till now is with that in mind. So this doesn't change things dramatically from my perspective anyway, in terms of what we're trying to build. There's still movement in the squad, absolutely. We've still got a fairly big squad that we need to move out, some players, and I think some players will seek opportunities elsewhere, and there's still, 3 or so weeks to go in the transfer window. So I think there'll still be movement, but that's not because, Harry's gone. That's always been in the plan.
In terms of a 20 goals plus a season, man, have you given Daniel Levy a list?
I don't think it works that way, mate. It's not, it's not my wife handing me a shopping list to go down and get some milk and bread for the kids. Like I said, we've been sort of, our whole strategy has been around the fact that, Harry wasn't going to be around, more than likely. So it's not like we've had that for a powwow this morning and, geez, what do? We knew it was coming, and we've been working towards that. And, from my perspective, we're preparing now for Brentford, and, there won't be anyone incoming between now and Sunday, so that's where my focus is.
Becky?
Hi, Ange. Becky here. Micky Van De Ven has joined the club. How's he settled in, and how many training sessions has he had? Do you expect him to be available on Sunday?
Yeah, no, it's good to get Micky in, and he's settled in well. It's always it's easy for me to say, but having just been through it myself, it's not as just simple as them coming out and training. They've got to sell themselves off the field as well, and all these kind of things take time. But he's looked bright at training. He's had a pre-season with Wolfsburg. He hasn't played 90 minutes yet, so it's fair to say again, match conditioning wise, he's probably not at the level. But he's definitely available for the weekend. We'll have a look at him. He trained today. He trained well today. Excuse me. We've obviously got a session tomorrow, and then in terms of the team selection, I'll make some decisions after that. But he's available for selection.
And any other injury concerns outside of the stuff that we don't know about?
No, we've obviously got some long-termers who kind of won't be available, but everyone else sort of who played the last 2 games, Shakhtar and Barcelona, apart from some minor knocks, they've all trained today. So, there's no one that will miss out from the guys who've kind of been involved recently.
And how are you feeling about Brentford on Sunday? What kind of threat they pose, and do you feel you're set and ready?
I think I said yesterday, we have to be ready. You can't. The league's not going to wait for us, so it starts Sunday, so we have to be ready for it. Obviously it's a great test for us. Brentford away is tough for anybody in the league. They showed that last year, and I think you've seen growth in their team every year they've been in the Premier League. Again, they've made some really astute signings to strengthen in the areas they need to, and it's going to be a great challenge for us. It's a great physical challenge when you play Brentford. They work hard as a team. They're well organised. They're difficult set pieces, and we've got to try and counter all that stuff. But also, from our perspective, try and play our football. We've been working hard on that in the pre-season, and this is our first chance to sort of start to lay some foundations.
Sam?
Hi, Ange. I know you said that you've been sort of planning this summer, knowing this deal is likely to happen, but when the news broke yesterday, was there a fee had been accepted? Was there any part of you that thought Harry might say no, I want to stay? Did you try and convince him to stay? This is his team, this is his home. I know Bayern's a big club, but
again, I think if you're involved in the football business as long as I know, as I have, clubs aren't talking to each other unless the player knows about it. We weren't negotiating with Wolfsburg for Micky Van De Ven and then trying to figure out whether he wants to come to us. All those kind of things are decided. So, those conversations I had a conversation with Harry the first day I arrived, and, he was upfront and honest, and I was the same. And, you kind of get an indication there that he kind of made up his mind that if the clubs agreed that he would go, particularly if it was, obviously his emphasis was before the first game. That was my preference as well. And there's nothing been along the way that's sort of made me feel like there's anything other than this outcome. So, like I said, none of these things happen in isolation. Everyone's pretty clued into what's going on. So, from my perspective, I hadn't received anything either from Harry or from the club or anyone else to suggest to me that anything had changed about his stance.
And on James Maddison, a lot of Spurs fans are happy to see him here at Tottenham. Was he a player that you wanted early on, so you got him what you're expecting him to bring to this team?
Yeah, I mean, he was probably one of the first pieces of business we did, yeah. I mean, he was available, and I was really excited to bring him into the group, knowing sort of what we needed to build here. And again, in the back of my mind, knowing that, if Harry was going to leave, that's a fair few goals walking out the door, and you can't just replace that, I thought, with one player. And I think an area of the club that, probably needed some bolstering was midfield threat in terms of goals, and that's what Matters provides, goals, assists, and if we're going to sort of cover the fact that Harry's gone and all the goals are leaving with him, we can certainly try and spread that out, and Matters definitely provides that, and he's been brilliant since he's come in. To be fair, he's been outstanding, not just in the games but in training, and the way he's kind of embraced the club, and the way he's kind of developed in the football we want to play.
And do you sense that, despite it's been a difficult couple of years, the Spurs and some negativity in particular last year, but do you feel as if you've, despite Kane going, you've really sort of united all the fan base? I think a lot of Spurs fans, when your face is coming in, you're an optimistic guy, you're very enthusiastic. I think Spurs fans have really taken to you early on. Do you feel as if you kind of got everyone on side early on, and everyone seems really united going into the new season?
Yeah, look, I think, it probably belies the general impression of managers, but we're all eternal optimists, or else we wouldn't do this role, mate. There's enough people telling you can't do things that if you don't go into any challenge believing you can be successful and believing that you can bring success, then, there's no point being in it. So, I was under no illusions of the enormity of the challenge, but at the same time, I was, bullish in myself that we could accomplish something here. And in terms of the supporters, I've said all along, they've got the right to feel the way they want to, and it's up to us to change that. If we don't feel, if there's a negativity amongst them, it's up to us to turn that around. It's not up to them to just sort of blindly. They'll always, have this eternal faith in their football club, but in terms of us, the people who represent it, we've got to prove to them that there's something to get behind there. And Sunday's an opportunity for us to begin to do that, and then hopefully that positivity transfers to our next home game, and then because the energy that they provide the players will be enormous in us trying to achieve what we need to.
Ali.
Obviously, Harry's been wearing the armband in your pre-season matches. Hugo doesn't seem to be part of plans. Have you decided on your captain going forward?
Yeah, I have, mate. Yeah. No, I'm not telling you. No, look, we'll kind of go through that process tomorrow. As you said, I think, again, knowing that sort of Harry wasn't going to be here was something that, I kind of had on my radar. I'm not a massive one on sort of, having an outstanding captain. I think leadership is very much a thing that's very transferable amongst the group. Your youngest player can show leadership skills, but it's about sort of creating a culture and environment that's driven by the players and the people you have in those kind of positions, captain or leaders, whatever sense of the word you want, have to drive that and sort of, that's been my part of my brief here in the early bits, just to observe, the players and how they interact and, the kind of environment they've set for themselves and which players seem to take the lead in that. And then, we'll sort of go through the formalities of that probably tomorrow.
I'll rephrase this next question slightly. Is Sonny a strong candidate? Is that wrong?
Well, it's not like, it's not like a leadership poll. We're not having votes or anything. It's just, there's obviously some people here some players who've been here who've already contributed outstandingly to the club. But again, for me, it's not just about experience. It's not just about playing ability. It's as much about the person they are as anything else, and how it's going to represent us as a football club and how it's going to represent the playing group. So there's all kinds of things that will go into it. And, from my perspective, I'm really comfortable now that with the group we have here, that we'll have a really strong leader out of it and hopefully some lieutenants alongside him.
Just a quick question about the future of another player. Even Perisic has been playing quite a lot for you in pre-season, obviously contributed a lot. Does he have a future?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why he doesn't. Like I said, he's been playing and he's been playing very well. Obviously I've followed Ivan's career for a very long time, and he's an absolute professional. The way he looks after himself physically, he's in unbelievable condition, and he's had a really strong pre-season for us, both in games, training. So yeah, he's definitely got a future with me, or with the football club more importantly.
Okay, we've only got a couple of minutes left of this section, so we'll go gentlemen in the suit, Antoine and George, please.
Hi there, it's Matt Gray with BBC Sport. You mentioned you had a conversation with Harry when you first arrived at the club. Obviously you had a vision. He said his ambitions as well, but did you try and convince him to stay?
No, I didn't see the point in that, because whatever I was going to say was going to be irrelevant to what he felt being here for the last month. I could sort of plan this grand vision, but I'm sure he's heard it all before. It's how people feel and what they see and perceive as they train with the group, and the way the environment changes, that has a bigger effect. So for me, that was more Not that I was going to make a pitch for him, but my feeling was, we'll get to know each other over the next month. That's the best way to sort of navigate this early bit of, our sort of relationship as manager and player. But having said that, in my mind, after that initial conversation, it seemed to me that Harry had sort of made up his mind that, as I said, if the clubs agreed, he would go. If not, he was also happy to stay. He wasn't like he, was kind of forcing it on me, and he was very professional about it, and I tried to treat him with the respect that a player of his standing deserves.
We understand negotiations take time, but with a lot of negotiations over the summer, I appreciate you thought Harry's mind may have been made up. But was there any frustration on your part that this has taken so long? We were just days from the open up against Brentford, and we were getting the news officially, I guess, today.
Yeah, look, I've been around long enough not to get frustrated by these things, because various parts of my career I've been involved in the negotiation side, and it's never a simple process. I mean, all us managers would love it if it was, and you're talking, like I said, about one of the greats of this football club. There's got to be some torment in there and turmoil in terms of on every side about this decision. It's not a real simple one. So whilst it would have been great to sort of have it clarified earlier, I didn't feel like in my mind that was going to happen. It was always going to be kind of borderline. I think the one thing we've tried to stay strong on, I think, on all sides, is that we don't want to go into the first game with, still stuff undecided, because then it gets even murkier, if you put it that way. So it's happened. Like I said, hopefully confirmation over the next few hours, and then we can move forward. Harry can move forward.
We've had big values being given to us, £86 million, I believe is the last one I heard. Have you been given any reassurances that a big chunk at least of that money will be available at your disposal to bolster the squad?
No, again, I think I said earlier that I don't need assurances. We've been working on that premise already. So there's nothing that's changed today from yesterday or a month ago when I started. We've had a clear idea about what we wanted to do in terms of bringing in players to bolster the squad, the areas we needed to bolster. Like I said, there still needs to be some movement out. That's still, a big part of what we need to do. And within that context, we'll wait and see how all that unfolds. And there's still areas where we can manoeuvre to do some business. But that's not because of what happened today. That's sort of been planned from day one.
Final one from me, so what does a successful season look like for you now?
The same thing it looks for me yesterday. Nothing changes. I said we will try and build a team that hopefully plays football that excites our fans and brings success to this football club, and the ultimate measure will be our fans. They'll tell me whether they're satisfied or not with what I've done, and that'll soon be relayed to the people here and to you guys, and you'll all be able to have a running sort of measure of how I'm going. But I'm not sort of putting any specific goals to it. I think I know what I want to achieve, and that is create a football team that excites our fans.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
As well on ITV News. When it comes to Harry Kane, he's a record-breaking player. He's pivotal for this club, but despite that, he wasn't able to bring the Spurs fans any trophies. So in the post-Harry Kane era, what does your side need to do to change that?
Yeah, look, I think that's a little bit unfair on Harry as well, because they've got close a couple of times, but obviously in this business that's the reality of it. Until you lift a trophy, that kind of thing's always sort of branded against you, but that doesn't diminish his contribution. And I think it's only fair that on a day like today that our supporters do have a sense of mourning and loss, because irrespective of the lack of success of the club, he's been a hero to them, and I think he'll continue to be so. But again, that him going doesn't change my vision of what I'm going to try and bring to this football club. It's fairly obvious that a club of this stature has to find a way to win things, and I think you can do that in many different ways. I have a very specific way of trying to bring success to a football club, this football club or any football club, and that is, playing the game a certain way, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And that's all I've ever done in my career is get the teams to play a certain way because I know it brings success, and that's my sort of, challenge here as well. And, hopefully moving forward that not just the fans but the players themselves and everyone involved with the football club will see that, the road we've embarked on will hopefully give us the opportunity for success, because that's all you can do. You can put yourself up there to try and be successful. Nothing's guaranteed, but we want to be in a position where we can bring success as a football club.
Does the loss of Harry Kane give your project more time, knowing that the fans will understand, maybe the board will understand that Harry was such a pivotal part of this club previously, starting a fresh journey with a new club?
Yeah, I don't know if you lot would be that forgiving, mate, to give me some more time. I think it's just the nature of football these days that we all love. Look, the reality is it does take time, but none of us know how much we have, and I've worked on that premise my whole career. I've said before, I go into every job thinking I'll be there for life, knowing that I won't be. So when that end date is, who knows? But that's not going to affect what I'm going to try and put in place, and I don't expect people to sort of cut me slack or give me time if I'm just bumbling along and making mistake after mistake. They need to see evidence. I think that's always the best way forward if you want to build something that's sustainable and might take a bit longer, is that along the way people actually see progress rather than me just telling them it's going to come after 3 months, 6 months or 12 months. If they could see it, feel it, then that buys you the time, because they can actually see what you're saying happening, rather than, like I said, me saying, well, you know what, can I have an extra 6 months now because Harry's gone? Why should they give me extra 6 months if I'm not doing my job? Hopefully they're seeing that anyway and saying, well, let's go another 6 months, let's go another year, because we like what we see and we're getting closer to where we want to be.
And finally, as you said, some fans will feel like they're mourning today, other fans will be just wondering what's going to happen in the future. What's your message to those fans?
Yeah, again, as I said earlier, I'm not going to tell them how to feel. They need to go through that process themselves. And I guess for me and the players, what's really important now is that, when they see their team play, that fills them with hope and belief that potentially we can build something that they're going to be, proud of. So I'm just really reticent to tell people how they should feel. If they're not feeling great about things, that's their right. There's probably a reason for that, maybe a good reason for that. What I want to do is hopefully give them something tangible on the field that excites them. And I think if we do that, they'll find their own way to get to the place where we're all sort of united and feeling good about the prospects of the football club.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you, mate.
Okay, we'll end the broadcast section with George, please.
Oh, yeah. All the way back here.
Hello, mate.
Is Richarlison fit for this weekend? And he's Brazil's number 9 and he seems to relish that attack. Is he the sort of character that you think would relish the to try and build with the goals that we left behind?
Yeah, he's fit. There's no issues with him. I mean, we didn't play against Shakhtar, but he was never going to be honest. We were always going to sort of play two different 11s, and he picked up a slight knock at training. But he got through the Barca game really well. Look, Richie's a fantastic player. He's, I said before, he's got some really strong attributes that fit in well with the way I want my team set up. He was a really, he's a hard worker for the team, apart from, obviously doing the stuff that he needs to in front of goal. But, there's all aspects to his game. And as you said, he's represented his country at a World Cup, not an insignificant thing. And sometimes when things like this happen, opportunity exists, and it's up to somebody to step through that door, whether that's Richie or anyone else. That's all you can ever ask for in football, and it's opportunity, and him and the others. But like I said, I wouldn't be expecting one player, and it's not the way we'll be set up to sort of cover the absence of Harry. It's about the collective, how we can become a really strong offensive force with the players we have, and
we have some really fantastic attacking players, of which Richie's one of them.
And there'll be a lot of debuts on Sunday. It will be your own first time managing in the Premier League. How excited are you about that, and actually about this being a new era that hopefully can be exciting and successful?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, absolutely. Every sort of new challenge is, the beginnings are always exciting. That's the way I see them, and obviously when the real stuff starts, particularly in the league, then you know that you're up and running. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll have probably 2 or 3 that will be making their debut potentially, which I'm sure they're excited about as well. So I'm looking forward to it. As I said, all us managers are deep down eternal optimists, and I'm sure there's 18 Premier League managers who are looking forward to the first game. We'll assess our feelings after the first game and see how many of us are still bullish about it.
Okay, we'll end the broadcast section there, please, and we'll move on to the embargoed section for 10:30 p.m. tonight. Who wants to kick us? Tom?